two picks from Twisted Minds going with the Charlotte and the Nuwa. What are your thoughts on this one, kid?
I like the burst damage potential. Also gives a perfect answer to Control Yu, right? Like we said, she has physical immunity, but she doesn't do well against huge burst mages. But nonetheless, both are very squishy picks, so you have to be very careful about your positioning.
Okay, but who are you giving the edge to? Like, specifically in terms of the teams? Obviously, you know, I think that they're very, very solid with what they want it to go. Nothing too meta in the sense that there's still a bit of flexibility when it comes to the later games.
Okay, so I know you know me as a guy that doesn't really like stats, but for this particular series itself, I'm going to have to go with the stats. I think Twisted Minds could have this game #1 in the bag.
Yeah, I'm kind of liking the way that they're going. Twisted Minds, again, the early game monsters, they've been able to really set the tone and the pace, and when you have the pay, it's like the perfect hero with this playstyle going into this one. And of course, this is going to be game #1, the second series of the day. It's going to be Twisted Minds going to get up against Alpha Gaming. Loser of this series is going to go home.
Do or die day. This is one of those monumental moments where you will see the early game dictating the pacing.
And it's all about pace in this one, right? Yes, it's a best-of-5, but I feel like really striking first, putting the fear in the enemy team, especially in that last series where Team Vitality stuck it to Gen.G, taking game 1, it really set the tone.
And decisions are super important. And right now, Clean straight away has access into this Azure Golem. And now, you know what? APG, they know it as well. They're going to do the counter invade.
I mean, it's really smart. I mean, the junglers are going to be counter movement around, but it looks like the steal is going to be taken at Yulong smites it for good measure. But now he's in not the greatest of spots, but he does have backup.
They're looking for an opening here.
They find Saber. He's a little bit on the lower end. He's taking quite a lot of damage, but he will whittle away, and they try to heal him, and he does stay alive, but just with a sliver of life.
Yep, super close between the two.
All the way forward, they find CT Boy, and Yulong is going to give up first blood. Not only do you get the steal, but you're getting first blood.
Big win, right? So level 3 immediately takes another camp away from the side of Twisted Minds. A beautiful start for the side of Alpha Gaming.
Totally an incredible start, right? I mean, 600 gold lead at this point. What more could you ask for? It hasn't even been 2 minutes, really setting the tone for the rest of this game.
I mean, it's lucky that Clean didn't get taken down. He actually dove into 3 different people there.
Yeah, I mean, it was risky at that point, and I wasn't sure if they were going to go, but PHY was like, actually, we can get this kill. Let's flash forward. Let's continue on. Yulong was there with that tether. Just too much damage in the end.
Yep, the heal by Saber, actually, that common spell, was one that really changed the fight. If he did not have heal, I think that would have been a very different story.
Yeah, very different. He was so close to dying. I mean, he was being focused, and Twisted Minds really did try to go all in, but it was almost seems like Saber baited them out with that heal, and he got himself to safety.
Definitely a bait, right? I think that's one of the reasons that they actually took up the heal down here. They expected this situation to happen. Like you say, they have done a lot of research on their opponents.
Yeah, and it was just the absolute maximum that you could go, right? Really setting it up. But in the top lane, Hailong with the emergence finds Dao Han, but he wants to go for 90, but he gets annihilated to the face, and it's going to be 1-1.
Yep, and this one was a crime by Twisted Minds. Low crime doesn't mean no crime at this point, and it was a brilliant steal of a kill coming in.
A brilliant steal, brilliant rotation, completely caught off guard. Once he had that emergence, those are the kinds of plays you want to make with a new blood. You can, again, just go for those 2-on-1s and really take advantage of it.
And why this is so important is because 90 is going to be responsible for diving onto the back lines of APG, or at least pushing them back when they want to take objectives like the turrets or the camps.
And then look, both of these clash laners is going to be key. The 90 now Dao Han matchup is going to be huge. 90 with a slight advantage. I mean, it looks like Dao Han has just hit level 5 and tied.
Interesting. CD Boy actually did not want to commit the smite to steal that camp away. It goes in the hands of PHY. So there is a balance in that mid lane matchup.
And it looks like teams starting to kind of prepare for that 4-minute tyrant, one that does spawn in about 40 or so seconds. But APG now are going to get caught off here. Twisted Minds. CT Boy just moving through his way to
top
the
lane.
Top lane. They've got the connection. They find 90. He gets seer stated. Yulong just runs it down.
Showing you why Ogren is such a painful and powerful pick as well. His passive, that seer state, once activated, will execute you if you have less than 10% of your health. Shields do not matter.
Yeah, it does not matter at all. And again, he was just kind of running up on you. 90 thought he was a little bit safe, got a little out of position. Dao Han and Yulong made him pay.
And they're looking for that pushback, right? They want to get that map advantage. And now, with 90's death, it actually does two things. Yulong gets an advantage, Daohan recovers.
Yeah, Daohan recovers, which is the biggest thing, especially in that top lane. But they're going to start grouping around that Tyrant. It's going to be started by APG, and it looks like Twisted Minds might go for the steal. They go for the Annihilation a little too early.
Okay, so kind of a tempo issue here on the side of Twisted Minds. Did try for the steal, like you said, but Highland a little bit too early.
Yeah, and I love the fact that both of these teams have like really honed in on the play styles. They've done their research. They see exactly how they play. I mean, they've been watching the VODs and realize that Twisted Minds are playing. They usually play a fast game. And APG are like, actually, we can go faster. Yeah, you have the pay, but we have all the pieces that we need to counter this.
Yes, and if you take a look at the body language of the players, actually, you know, Twisted Minds to me seems a little bit more stressed. APG kind of like in a comfort zone. This is the kind of game that they're comfortable with.
And there was, look, you're from the MKL, which is arguably the best league in the entire global Honor of Kings system, right? In the esports world, right? So having that experience where you're playing up against BSE and Nova is just going to prepare you for this moment.
Exactly. You have to be the best by playing with the best. And at this point, they force out that ultimate by Shanks where he turns into a dragon. JD did not expend anything. He has that T1 on the top as a reward as well.
Yeah, and one thing that we haven't really been talking about is Shanks, Lung, JD, Concert, Yui. I mean, this matchup hasn't really been in play, but the top T1 being traded for the bottom T1 right now.
But this is exactly what they want, right? You don't want to have your farm laners fighting it out right now. You take a huge risk.
Yeah, it would be a bit of a risk. Yulong eating a flaming bomb. Here's the Umbrella Outburst onto 2. Nighty looking to go in for this one, finds this, and it looks like he's going to be backing off, but the Annihilation snipes out PHY. That's going to be a huge one for them, but Nighty taking a decent amount. JD chipping away at him, but it looks like PHY, the only casualty.
This is why it's so important. You need to give Nighty that advantage if you're from Twisted Minds.
Yeah, and look, the Unending Sorrow, the secondary one, the Celestial Melody given by Saber really helped keep him alive, at least for a bit, but PHY just taking way too much. That Annihilation, the snipe out.
And with this, there is a slight lead for the side of Twisted Minds. So Alpha Gaming, they need to control the pace of the game. They're going to try and do that by putting the numbers advantage into the bottom side of the map.
I mean, APG had a 1K net worth lead and everything shifted, right? And here comes the emergence from Hyland just repelling the assault at this point. But they're back in this game in the sense that Twisted Minds are actually in a bit of a lead.
Yes, and APG, this is a good plan here. They want to force that entry into the Crimson Golem.
Yeah, I'm going to make things a little bit tough. Yulong does not actually get that steal. Clean takes it away, but every single piece of resources on the map is going to be contested. Yulong going in with that Conductor of Souls. He's going to connect. Nighty's still up in front, just trying to attract their attention more than anything else. Both teams are disengaging.
Okay, a slight concern for me, you know, JD is popping that Protecting Winds. The second skill, Physical Immunity, a little early for my taste. And it might cost him later in the fight because Nighty can always re-engage at any point of time.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't died yet. I think that's the biggest thing, but yes, it could be a potential issue. He's the emergence, and it looks like the Protecting Winds keeping JD alive. That tower is still there, and it looks like Twisted Minds, again, another attempt at an assault, not able to get it on them.
They have committed quite a lot. On the bot side, it's not looking good for Twisted Minds, though.
Not looking great. Umbrella Outburst pushing Yulong in a bad spot. There's no way that Twisted Minds is able to get the jump on him. CT Boy kind of walks away in a little bit of shame.
It feels like Alpha Gaming today is a completely different team. They're controlling Twisted Minds, something that was not apparent yesterday.
Yeah, look, I think it was kind of more the fact that they were playing, you know, Nongshim, right? It was a little bit of a higher tempo pace. They were definitely behind in this one. And this one, it seems like they've kind of taken the fight to them, but they're trying to calm it down more than anything else.
Yes, but they're keeping that same kind of tone from the other day. Across all the different series, which is we keep close. This is a very tight game played by both these teams so far.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just Yulong just staying alive. Once he's continuing to get that farm, it's going to be very difficult for Twisted Minds to kind of really get back into them. There is a bit of a timer on the Twisted Minds side. Yulong, though, getting a little bit low. He gets the Conductor Soul just barely off, but Yulong gets annihilated to the face, and the Emergence on back. Nighty's going to be traded away. PHY, that Umbrella Outburst was on point. PHY dying, though, and Shanks looking to go aggressive with that infinite fastness, finds him out, and they want to go for Daohan. They get another kill. JD is the only one that survived.
Beautiful timing by the side of Twisted Minds. We will probably have a replay of that moment. I mean, APG, they felt like they had the advantage. But once again, as an Ogren, yes, you are strong. You want to go in the front line, but you cannot take too much damage.
Can't take too much damage. I mean, he was completely focused in, but break this replay down.
Okay, so it's really a timing of the skills here. Yulong knew he was dead, so they were looking for an opening. I like the bait coming from 90, right? Actually pulling the rest of the team on the side of APG to come in deeper. And with the help of Highlang, look, he had no fear. This is what we need from your teammates. You need to understand the power, the strength, the turnaround potential.
Yeah, and not only that, the CT boy, the way that he held his Unbridled Outburst for so long to get the maximum value, maximum impact, knocking out 2 right when you needed it, it was a perfect team fight for Twisted Minds.
That's why for the newer players, we always talk about timing. Timing is very important. When you use your skills, when it's the appropriate moment. Even though you have the resource, you might not need to use it right there and then.
I mean, look, if you use it too early, and we actually saw it in the first series, I'm not going to name names, but it was used where it tried to initiate and it pushed everybody away and they couldn't really fight, but they continued on. They lost the team fight because that huge spell was expended early.
Yes, so decisions are so important in Honor of Kings. And right now, APG, I think, look, this decision to continually invade, it puts a lot of stress onto the side of Twisted Minds. But Twisted Minds, they're a team with experience and they're recovering.
Yeah, definitely recovering, and they've been taking it on. The Annihilation onto PHY. He was so low. He's looking to go back. Nighty potentially go for that tri-slash, but Dao Han gets sniped instead in the bottom lane by Clean.
It's perfect timing for the side of Twisted Minds. This is the 10-minute mark. You don't want to lose members here because you're giving away very important neutral objectives here.
I mean, but Clean with that one-on-one outclass. He kills Dao Han. Now they take the first Shadow Tyrant. That's a huge swing in favor of Twisted Minds.
So if you're a new player and you're looking, oh, hang on.
It looks like CT Boy in a bad spot. PHY, he's going to get under that tower. Saber's looking to go back as well. The siege is on. The Umbrella Outburst going to be negated by that Unending Sorrow. APG will hold.
The answer is very clear, right? So they're trying to waste Saber's ultimate on that Celestial Melody and also trying to make that double out for PHY useless. They want to make sure there is no value, no heals for your team, no damage on us.
Yeah, actually very smart. And the fact that they're trying to bait that ult out. I mean, make him use it and know that we're not fully committing to this fight. But when at the last moment they go in, very smart with how Twisted Minds are looking to approach this.
And I hope you guys are noticing this at home. At this point, Shanks has been getting very important flaming palms onto the different members on the side of Alpha Gaming. This also has been majority onto Saber.
Yeah, the protecting wins. He's going to be Dovan. This is probably the better fight. The Annihilation. JD actually getting sniped out, and they've got Nighty in return. He gets Seer stated for his trouble, but now APG looking to limp away.
Okay, that was a great start by the side of APG, but Twisted Minds, they are better at playing the macro game. We've already seen this multiple times. They take the T3 at the top, and they're going to get away scot-free.
Yeah.
Mostly, I guess. 90 did die.
90 died, but I mean, he'll trade away his life for JD any moment, right?
Trade.
It's a great trade, and I think 90's going to be very happy with that. He was focused, fired, and right, he wanted to find JD. JD just a little too far out of his base.
And at this point, because they have a double smite composition, it's really difficult for the side of APG. Now, take a look at that snipe coming in from Highland. That actually caused a lot of damage. Yes, 90 did give his life, but it's all about buying time. Look, when you are pushing for a fight, you sometimes have to oblige on the side of APG because you don't want to lose members unnecessarily.
Yeah, Hailong has just been absolutely amazing with that Annihilation. He's getting yet another one, a 4-man stun. JD already been picked off. Here's the emergence on 4. They want to go for Yulong. They're doing the decent amount of damage, and they find him as well. Clean is just too much, but Shanks is traded away. It's a 3-for-1.
And it's a wrap at this point. A very nice flank coming in 90, making sure that there is sufficient pressure and a wave at the top as well. They're going to try and push Saber and Dao Han away. A 2-man defense here.
Yeah, 2-man defense. This is going to be tough for Dao Han and Saber. Not the ones you want to deal with this wave clear, but Twisted Minds looking to go in, look to close this game out. Dao Han is going to be focused. 90 gets that kill, and more importantly, they will take game 1.
Beautiful start for the side of Twisted Minds. It's not how you start the game, it's how you end it. And Twisted Minds had the victory in sight.
Yeah, but APG really stuck it to them in the early game. They definitely had a chance. There were moments where you're kind of like, APG have kind of like grown up in that sense. They leveled up. They figured out how to take the early game on. But man, Twisted Minds understanding that actually when it comes to the neutrals, we know exactly when to go for the ganks to really solidify this early game lead.
Yes, and it's one thing about recovery that I really like about Twisted Minds. You can give them a horrible start, and let's be honest, they didn't really have the best start. Constant invasions coming by Yulong and gang, trying to get that Crimson Golem away from the hands of Clean. Not only did they defend it, they also managed to get so many nice snipes, so many nice kills, and forcing out skills from the side of APG where it did not have the best outcome.
All right, but look at this one. Going into this one, Hailong, to me, his annihilations were on point. Almost every single highlight had him with like multi-man annihilations, 2-man, 3-man, just really softening up the enemy team. APG really not able to fight that or even outlast it.
So let me double down on your point at this segment here. City Boy as well, you talked about it a few times. His unbridled outburst, that ultimate for Zhang Fei, was always at the critical moments. And City Boy was never really at the threat of dying, which was even bigger because his shields from his second skill, the Leaping Savior, really provided so much value.
Everybody stepped up. Everybody understanding their roles, how to play this one out. And the fact that they were actually focusing fire onto JD. He got caught out. APG cannot fight. They're on a run, and now it's a full-on rout.
Exactly. And the way that Twisted Minds have played this game, you will notice that they're actually swapping positions as a 5-man. And at every moment, you're actually attacking a different member of Twisted Minds, which means they tank as a team, and you can't get kills.
It's all about target prioritization, right? And the positioning that Twisted Minds have been going in, understanding who needs to go. Nighty's been up in front, creating so much havoc on the back line, and then you have just everybody playing so well together.
So it's the little things that matter, right? That first kill going to the side of Nighty in the clash lane. Why is it so important? It's because he's the one responsible for diving, which means the advantage is actually not against your fellow clash laner, it's against the farm laner, against the mid. If you have an advantage there, you can dive them for all that you care.
I mean, it was everything. It was just trying to get to that back line and clean with 31% of the damage, always finding the back lines, always finding the squishier guys. But Hailong also 27% of the damage. The fact that he was just staying alive, just constantly cycling his spells, he was such a nuisance.
So the percentages here for damage dealt are appropriate, but it's also the damage taken. Look, 90 tanking 26%, City Boy tanking 32%. They were soaking it up so that the team, important members, could deal the damage against Alpha Gaming.
That was the biggest thing, right? Just keeping everyone else alive. You know, Clean, Hailong, Shanks, all of those guys, super squishy, right? And the fact that they were able to keep them alive, be those like bodyguards, and there's a reason why there's a lot of donuts in terms of Hailong and Clean. They played a flawless game, didn't die a single time.
That's right. Now, if you're wondering why are they so tanky on the side of Twisted Minds, I want to point you at that white color item for City Boy right in the center of your screen there. That is called the Dawn Light. And for landing your skills or basic attacks, you will get a shield to the lowest member plus yourself. So there was always a form of defense coming in from City Boy. He gives you a shield, his items give you a shield, so how are you supposed to get kills on the side of APG?
Yeah, it was not going to be easy. I mean, there's just too many targets for them. And APG, again, they were always on the defensive. This is not where you want to be, especially when you have an Augur. You want that farm. You want to be taking the siege to the enemy team.
Yeah, and the goal difference was quite significant, which meant that the itemization for the side of Alpha Gaming was not as much, which allowed that damage to really soak in through the armor, which is a very painful experience.
And look at how the fact that they were able to just close that game out. I mean, Twisted Minds, not phased. Alpha Gaming came out swinging, and Twisted Minds was like, let's weather the storm. They were kind of like Bruce Lee, dodging the punches, and they're like, hey, we're going to be fine in this early game. We can still win this one.
So the important question here is APG aggressive enough, or did they not just play safe enough?
I think that they were aggressive enough. They started the game very aggressive. They turned it around for Twisted Minds. I'm telling you, Twisted Minds, everyone played amazing. One of them just stood up higher. That it was one of the person that I think that allowed Twisted Minds to win this game, and is going to be the MVP of today, right? Like the MVP for this match is gotta be Clean. Like he moved around in the moment that where he needed to go and take. He took his solo kills. When he jumped into the fights, he got the kills as well. Thanks to Clean, Twisted Minds were able to turn this around, I would say.
It was also due to Clean that they actually got that first turnaround in that game. That solo kill you were talking about onto Daohan at the bottom side of the map. That was where it became a 4v5, and this was perfect timing because it was 4 minutes in the game. First Tyrant, and suddenly you have that Tyrant buff, you have the power, the lightning charges. Let's go and fight.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why you need somebody like Clean on your team, right?
Yeah.
To be when somebody gets isolated, you don't need friends. All it is that I can solo this guy, I can get that kill, and then it turned into objectives. And then from that moment on, it was like a tipping point. Everything went in favor of Twisted Minds.
On the other side of Alpha Gaming, what I'm thinking about is they had the advantage at the beginning. They were really like commanding. It felt like Twisted Minds at the beginning, first 2-3 minutes, they were a little bit too nervous, I would say, because their performance on their solo mechanics were not actually really good.
So Alpha Gaming, I think they're showing you shades of greatness, but we don't want shades. We want the deep colors flowing through, because in order to have the success, rainbows and butterflies, you need to have the full picture here.
Okay, I just like rainbows and butterflies though, but I do like where you're going with this in the sense that, like, yes, they need to be a little bit more assertive. The moves and everything that they're doing, it seemed like they were like winning, but then they were like, let's take our foot off the gas just a little bit, and that's just all they need for Twisted Minds to really take over this game.
I mean, I agree. I don't think they willingly let go of the gas, right? Because at this point, APG, they were trying so many things. They were going for invasions. They were trying to get solo kills and stuff like that, but it just didn't work out. And that is the result of the ban picks for the first game. And take a look at what's happening in game number 1.
I mean, look, the global ban picks always ever so important, especially in a longer series. This is a best of 5. These heroes cannot be picked again by their respective teams that have picked them already, so we will not be seeing that. APG probably aren't happy in that sense, because some of these heroes kind of annoying to deal with in terms of like the pay and the loom.
I'm telling you, from when I see all these bans and picks, I think that for APG, losing this one is something that is not going to hurt them that much, because they did not spend a lot of very costly heroes. And on the other side, like, they use the pay, they use the loan already. They're not going to be available.
I'm not sure whether I agree with you, because I love Ogren, and I think we have seen in KWC, right? The Yuhuan has been picked so many times, and now that you pick a Yuhuan, you lost with it. You pick an Ogren, you also lost with it. You picked a Fatih, you also lost with it. So that's 3 very big picks coming for the side of Alpha Gaming. I'm sure they have a very deep hero pool, but picking up the Ogre, this 3 heroes, you wanted the win.
You mentioned to me at the beginning of the game that it was going to come down to the junglers, right? That whatever that we can give to the junglers. The Ogre has not been my top pick for jungler right now.
Agree.
And my point would be, can we get Yulong into something else? On the other side, they already used the pay. And that, for me, in terms of trying to cut losses, I would go with that trade.
No, but I do agree with Isaac in the sense that, like, yeah, the Ogren is there, and it's kind of like more of a flex pick, just being like, hey, we're going to try this one out. It wasn't the greatest lineup for Ogren. Let's be honest, if we're talking about the Dolia, like the Celestial Melody, Conductor Souls, not so great, right? This was not a massively good synergy in terms of draft, right? There were definitely some, like, question marks, I would say. It wasn't the best one. And to your point, Isaac, I do think that the Alpha Gaming lineup wasn't as strong as Twisted Minds, and you're only pretty much giving up, you know, again, the Fatih and the Ogren.
Okay, so take a look at what's happening here. Twisted Minds, they picked up the Arlie. You know, one of the considerations I had for this game was the fact that maybe let's put Yulong on one of his specialty heroes, which he performed very well, which was the Luna, right? But Luna suffers against an Arlie because it's so hard to catch. So Alpha Gaming, they go a different direction. Let's go for the lockdown instead. They box Sky, Yixing, along with Dharma.
All right, I'm pretty sure Yixing Box Guy is not really his name. I don't remember the nicknames that were given in game, but it was definitely not Box Guy. But I see where you're going. Definitely Yixing is the guy to really kind of make things uncomfortable. And plus you're setting things up for the Dharma. You wrap him up in that box, Dharma is going to knock him down.
I mean, at this point, this Yixing that's going to be piloted by PHY is kind of like giving a unboxing video to the side of Daohen, right? Like, hey, I got you this chessboard, there's some gifts inside, can you open it up and see what you got? So I think this game for Alpha Gaming is going to be very reliant on this, the world is my board. That's the name of the ultimate for PHY on this Yixing. If you can get multiple members on the side of Twisted Minds locked down, that is a perfect present for Daohen.
Yeah, I don't want any gifts from Dharma. I'm not falling for that in terms of the box. But the Lady Jean and the Mayan kind of rounding it out and going more to the counter picks, right? With the Lady Jean versus the Yixing, I think that that's fine. I think it's not a terrible matchup. Mayan versus the Dharma, sometimes you need to throw that one out. But the Mayan, the amount of control, the ability to potentially get onto the Yixing and Chano is going to be huge. But it comes back to PHY. How does he deal with Yixing and setting up those boards?
Actually, you know what? I think the challenge here actually going to start for Twisted Minds in the farm lane, because Chano has a natural advantage against Arlie if he's able to activate those traps, right? That's number 1. Number 2, this Lady Jean pick, why is it picked here? It's actually to deal with the Dharma, because Dharma wants to be in close range. Lady Jean actually enjoys it when you come close to her, because that is the perfect range for her to not even bother about aiming. She just throws her ultimate, gets a setup, and then this Dharma is going to disappear. Yeah,
and I mean, look, the jump in, you have that counter, you know, the counter initiation, which kind of she's great for, right? And it really adds quite a lot of value. But we're going to see exactly, okay, this Chano versus the Arlie. Your thoughts on this matchup? Obviously, it's in favor of Arlie, but what about the Chano? You don't think so?
No, I disagree.
One-on-one, fine, but I'm talking like late game.
Nonetheless, the thing is, you don't want to allow Arlie into the late game, right? Alpha Gaming here, look, late game Channel hurts like hell as well. But the thing is, in the laning phase, he's not going to have a good time on the side of Shanks because Channel is quite hard to play against. And now you add a Mozi that's going to keep consistently throwing those cannon blasters in your face. How many dancers can you have that blocks the projectiles? You don't have that many.
Yeah, you don't have that many, and it is going to be super annoying to deal with, right? Assuming he hits those cannon blasts, I think Saber is more than up to the task in that regard, just kind of ensuring that you provide as much cover as possible, because right now, it's about locking guys down, letting the rest of your team really do that damage.
Okay, I really like the structure of Twisted Minds draft, so they can actually congregate really quickly, but they can play very independently as well. Sakir able to weave in and out of brushes. Arlie obviously has an umbrella parasol to work with. And then you have Mankey who has that dream roam to enter and disengage from fights as well. So in fact, I would go as far as to say APG Dharma is going to have a very tough time.
Yeah, he might not have the easiest of times, especially with the amount of stuns and the ability to just kind of get on top of you. They're kind of on the tankier side. I mean, it really comes back to this, this Mankey. How much does he provide? How much, space and that body blocking, it's going to be key in this one.
I think at this point, one of the strategies that Alpha Gaming can actually go for is let's shut down this Mayin, right? Because if the Mayin cannot engage and, make a mistake of jumping in a little bit too early, especially for 90, he will be taken down. And then it's a free-fall. It's a buffet for Alpha Gaming.
Yeah, but 90's so good on the Mayin. He just provides so much space. He's always in front. Super annoying to deal with. But okay, let's talk about the draft here. If we're looking at these guys, let's take away the player names, the teams, and all that, and look at things from in the sense of a vacuum. Who are you giving the edge to in this game too here?
I know I praised the side of Twisted Minds, but I like the Alpha Gaming lineup a little bit better, right? There is a better chance of setup. City Boy, in order to really maximize the Sakir first skill, right, that mulberry power, you actually need to commit a flash if you are not aiming well.
Yeah. But I mean, if we're looking at these, both of these lineups, I think they're pretty well matched. It's really going to come down to the team fights in terms of just multi-man stuns. How are these things going to be able to play out? Is JD going to be able to survive, get away when he needs to?
I would find it a bit difficult for the side of APG to be able to catch this Arlie out consistently. Yeah. But when they do, you can definitely expect a kill. And at this point, City Boy, you can take a look at that. He misses his first skill, even committed a flash as well. Yeah,
that's going to be a huge common skill, going to be on cooldowns for now. Not the end of the world, but just staying alive, which is the most important thing at the early game. The first blood, of course, you never want to give that up, especially at this stage.
Yes, it's not ideal for the side of Alpha Gaming. Look, they're under a lot of pressure at this point, right? Game number 1, you had a loss, and you had a loss with pretty decent picks as well. Now you have big picks in the form of the Yixing, in form of the Dharma. You want to make this lineup work.
Yeah, so when you're making this lineup work, APG right now, are you looking to play even faster, more aggressive in the early game? What is the thought process here?
So, end of the day, your win condition is Daohin managing to make a good trade, right? Getting more members than your members getting caught out. So ideally, you want to force them in the corner. So I would say aggression is great, but at the appropriate times. Likewise, they also have the counter-attack initiative, where PHY can use his ball to catch them out when they are being over-aggressive.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, but Shanks getting caught out. First blood is going to go the way of PHY. Shanks just a little too far out.
Yeah, so this is actually also due to the skill of both Yulong and PHY. So Yulong has hit 4. I'm not sure whether he was 4 at that point, but PHY is perfect setup. Using his second skill, he's actually able to drag you back into that little box itself.
Yeah, and setting it up, I mean, that would have been huge for them. But APG with a great start, the mulberry power right onto Saber, who Peacebringer's back to safety. This is something that you kind of need to worry about, because CT Boy, I mean, he's the potential to fly in, get that multi-man stun. APG, generally speaking, will probably try to deathball, but it's one of those things where they start to get grouped up, and it's a little vulnerable then.
I mean, their synergy is really strong, right? You have Saber, you have the Yixing for PHY. So you have taken a look at that very simple combination. Skill 2 by PHY, skill 2 by Saber, lock up everyone together, get the cannon blast, a lot of burst damage for free.
I mean, there's a lot of burst damage. I mean, look, everyone, the stuns, if they're locked locked in up together and they're comboing on top of one another and stacking them properly, you're going to have a great time. But it really comes back to JD. How much damage can he do? Is he going to stay alive to really get those kills?
That's right, and I think it's also dependent on Hailang, right? Can he get a knockup? We have seen teams that have used this Lady Chen in a very good way. Like, even if he trades his life, Hailang, if he gets a knockup, it spoils the timing on the side of APG, and they can't deal with disruption. This lineup needs the combos to land in sequence with no disruptions.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I love the fact that you're bringing up Hailang. I love the fact that, like, the guy has just leveled up so immensely. Like, the spotlight should be on him. He was like that high-flying Shangguan, always in your face, being aggressive. And it looks like the box is going to be locked in. CT Boy gets picked off. PHY finds him out, gets that kill.
That is a moment you need to burn into your memory. As an Yixing player, PHY, he played so well in that particular moment. When a team over-aggresses, don't be afraid. Put the board down. And when you have support such as Saber, and you have the support and help of Yulong, who's able to throw the fur ball down, get the stuns, so many combinations available for you.
Yeah, I'm going to speak on behalf of CT Boy. That is definitely going to be in his head about being out of position, getting stuck in that board. It's going to be a tough spot. Dao Hen now putting the work into 90, who actually has to sprint away.
I like this recovery from Alpha Gaming. This is exactly the kind of mentality you want as a champion material hopeful.
And the pick off the Tyrant from Yulong. Clean was going for that drive-by, not able to smite it in time.
Okay, this is a perfect situation. You can hear the call coming out from APG. Be patient, but we must still put pressure.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a different story, right? I mean, they want a different story from Game 1 because they had that lead in Game 1, and now this is the moment where they're kind of in the same position. They need to put the pressure on, turn it into objectives, and they're doing a great job. As a flash forward, finds Dao Hen, he dodges the Ocean of Tears.
Overthinking coming out from the side of Hailang, trying to predict the movements of Dao Hen. I mean, we both can see it very clearly, right? But I think Twisted Minds, they need to calm down a little bit. Don't get ahead of yourself. Play this step by step.
Yeah, Dao Hen, I love the movement, right? He knew it was coming. If he gets caught out, that would have been a bad spot. But Dao Hen was like stutter stepping, and he actually was able to dodge that one. Really smart play. And now Dao Hen put the pressure on to 90.
Yep, turning it around. The flanks are coming in from the rest of the side of Alpha Gaming.
Yeah, putting it on at this point. But this Overlord, I think he's just going to be spawning at this point. But the true fight is going to be right in front of it. They've got the pullback on the Clean. He's tanky. He was just kind of scouting that one out, but he's going to take some damage on his way out.
But still, look at the map control. APG this game, much more steady performance. They're putting pressure on the top T1.
Yeah, putting it out. But their Twisted Minds are looking for the potential jump. They do see that there's two members in the top lane. Twisted Minds could potentially jump in here.
Is it really the best decision though? They're going to take the T1 at the bottom. I think that's a guarantee. But right away, JD has made that trade even before that situation happened. So still, APG maintained their lead.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right? Looking to trade, understanding that, hey, we can't shift in time to defend that top T1. We'll take the bottom T1 ourselves. But Twisted Minds down about 1.3K. Twisted Minds, generally, they don't play well from behind.
Yeah, they don't really do well at this
point. Ball, they find him. The Dream Roam Clean is taking some serious damage. He gets picked off. Yulong with just enough, and now 90 looking to join, gets the revenge kill on the PHY. CT Boy, that is. 90 now on the run, the flash forward, and it looks like the sprint away, just way too much speed. Cannon Blast, the soaring signal on to find, and finds 90, gets that snipe in. They want more. They find Shanks, and they're catching them out one by one. The piecemeal piece, and Twisted Minds looking to retreat at this stage.
This is the Alpha Gaming we wanted, and Alpha Gaming has shown up in game number 2. Look, the amount of chase down they have, that's one. But the control, do you see how much control they laid onto Twisted Minds?
I mean, every time you're trying to run away, they have ways to get those stun locks. I mean, Yulong with that Furball, Saber with a Cannon Blast, you have so many options just to lock them down. Twisted Minds realizing that, hey, we're actually behind. These are the tough times to be fighting.
And you know what's the main difference here? The focus for the side of APG changed from, hey, let's put pressure on the buffs. Instead, let's put pressure on the map. The buffs will come naturally.
Yeah, no, I like the way you said that. That's absolutely true, right? I think that the map control has been key. APG, again, this is kind of what I was talking about in terms of game 1. Like, yes, they had the lead, but they didn't really take over the map.
Yep, so I mean, this is what I want from you when you're playing farm lane, right? Hey, take the map.
Whoa. All right, look, just because you steal my buff, now I have to cower in fear because I don't have the red buff to really take any fights.
That's because we didn't take the towers. This is a base game. We need to take the objectives, and then, like I said, the buffs will come naturally.
Okay. We'll try that one in the next game. We'll see how that one plays out. But APG doing a much better job in this one. Really taking the fight to Twisted Minds. They've been on the defensive. And again, Shanks and Clean haven't really gotten going this game.
And I mean, it's hard to play because JD, he has been using that portal. Hang on.
Oh, the fur ball right onto Nighty. He's going to get a little serious. Finds Yulon, goes, you want to go for me? Let's go. Nighty with that kill. And now the Dream Roll finds PHY. The board has been set up, but PHY dies in his own board.
This is why you never let go of that gas. And APG now have to run away clean. Wants to push them back. They want access into the T1 here.
Yeah, they're looking to be aggressive, but they're going to go with the truth. They go for the counter. The Formless is right onto CD Point, who's looking to fly away. The box is locked in clean. That's going to be a kill. And JD on the prowl. Wants to find it. Gets the kill on the CT Boy, but trades away Saber.
Yep, all of that farm has been worth it. But JD, he needs to run for his life. 90, can he catch him though?
I mean, he's got that speed. It's a matter of time. The Wolves are just chipping away at 90. He goes for that play. Gets the shutdown on the JD.
A beautiful comeback for the side of Twisted Minds, but it's not that final product yet. They need to get the steal. They did manage to take it away from Yulong. Not a great situation for the side of Alpha Gaming.
I mean, if you're going to ask Twisted Minds how many buffs you want, yes, they have every single one of the buffs on the map right now. Huge win for them. Twisted Minds even taking up the Tyrant at this stage.
And that's a good recovery, right? If you take a look at the gold difference, now it's down to 1,000. Twisted Minds, they have regained a little bit of control of the map. Not entirely yet. It is still in favor of APG. But for now, that 10-minute mark is approaching and dawning upon us. 45 seconds to go. What is the next decision from both teams?
I mean, look, both of these teams are they're trading blow for blow, right? I mean, APG are still in the lead. I think the biggest issue was JD dying to Nighty. He can't be isolated. He needs to stick with the team.
Yeah, isolation actually is not a friend for the side of Chano, right? Chano, you want to be given the freedom. Yes, the only isolation you want is just a short distance away from your team where you're able to stay safe but still deal damage. That's the only isolation you would consider as a farm laner.
Yeah, you want to stick with everybody. Everybody needs to be there to ensure that those stuns are kind of going off, because Nighty had a free reign, like a path to JD, and just finding him out, JD needs to stick together. He's going to do a much better job in these later team fights.
I think the big concern here for the side of Alpha Gaming is they're allowing those catches.
Yeah, they find Clean. The box has been set up. They've actually got 3 of them. They find them with the truth, knocking them on the edge. Gets an amazing truth on this one. And 2 members down thus far. PHY has been killed, and it looks like they're going to get another. They find Nighty and Clean and CT Boy on the retreat.
That's why, and this is the definition of synergy.
Yeah, the synergy, the Dream Roam back just for Clean to stay alive, but that mid T2 is going to be under siege. APG finding them. Yes, they're low. They're going to be looking to regroup, but they're going to focus their attention on the first Shadow Tyrant of the game.
This is an important marker for the side of Alpha Gaming. They will secure it. There is no pressure coming in. Let's take a look at the replay. This is why you want to be very careful checking brushes even though you're a tank, and this is also why you pick up the I-Ching with the Dharma combination. That chessboard laid down on the floor, it creates a wall you cannot escape. And as a Dharma, you want extra walls in this game.
Yeah, everything, anything at this point, and it's like right off the backboard. It was just set up so perfectly. This draft has been on point. APG making it work, but man, PHY with these monumental boards.
This really was just due to the way that they drafted for this game. Alpha Gaming, I really like this. And like I said, even though I prefer, you know, I was singing the praises to Twisted Minds, APG's draft is really strong.
Very strong. They're ready to go. They're looking to siege you. I mean, they have a 2K net worth lead. This lead is going to be tough to relinquish here, but now they're looking to go for the flank. Clean face checks the brush once again. Daohan finding him out. Shanks is in a bad spot. Looking to trade with Yulong. Shanks is very low, needs to be careful. He's looking to run away at this point, but now they find him and they're going to isolate Clean instead, and they get that pick. 2 members down, and I don't know how Twisted Minds is going to hold.
I don't think they will. T3 should be taken with general ease at this point. It could be the game. There is a wave.
I mean, the wave is slowly trickling in. The crystal is under siege. They're doing a little bit of damage. They're focusing it down. The soaring signals are doing some work, and Nighty trying to make the heroic play. Tries to get serious. Does get the pick up onto JD. What a play by Nighty, ensuring that they stay alive just for a little bit longer. But now APG back on the attack. They still have 4 members. Hailong and Shanks looking to go for the ultimate hold. Daohan gets pushed back. He's going to be going to go in, but Yulong focused the crystal, and APG back in this series. 1-1 we go.
There is no other way. This has to be the tempo and the pacing of this series. 1-1. Daohan at the end of that segment there actually got a very nice truth mantra. Also delayed the respawn and staggered the deaths on the side of Twisted Minds, which is why this push was beautiful. Take a look at this replays of the game. Twisted Minds, I think they need to rethink how they're supposed to do those counters, because the amount of synergy, the combinations offered by the side of Alpha Gaming, absolutely beautiful this game.
Absolutely beautiful. And again, this is why the global ban pick is so amazing, right? Sometimes you go in with a draft that's like, got some weaknesses, but APG, it's so well synergized in the game too, in a pretty much must-win game to get back in this series, because you never want to be down 0-2.
Here's the thing, there is never a perfect draft. Every draft has a set of weaknesses, a set of strength. It's up to you as a team to expose those weaknesses, and that's exactly what Alpha Gaming did.
Yeah, it did such a great job. And I mean, look, Twisted Minds had options to get back in this one, but just APG understanding the win conditions, like understanding who needs to die. And they were able to just focus them out. Twisted Minds were kind of on the retreat, really couldn't get back in this one.
And this is an important information you need to understand, because as we head deeper into the depths of proficiency in KWC, you will need to learn things like target prio, right? Target prio means you want to focus on one particular target. And as we go deeper in this series, you will notice that Twisted Minds and Alpha Gaming will be looking for very specific targets.
Very specific ones. And understanding who needs to die. I mean, they did such a great job of target prioritization. Like, just Shanks is surviving, but Hailong had gone down, and now they got the numbers advantage, and they actually take down Clean so quickly. He's a tanky boy, but not against 4 people.
And the timing that they took this fight, this is another consideration if you're learning this game and you're new to this game. When do you exactly take fights? Alpha Gaming took that fight when there was a wave, 2 waves crashing down onto the T3 at the top of Twisted Minds' base. And what was the result with the victory for that fight? The game.
Yeah, and that was perfect, right? And understanding just like, again, how to close the game out. How many teams have we seen? They see the exposed crystal and get out of position, or they force it, or they do something silly where they're not able to end the game, and it looks like Alpha Gaming found out exactly how to do it properly.
Yes, so this is the time where you have to get serious, as the Mayan unfortunately did not perform in this particular series. But the games will get more and more difficult as we explain to you and break down those little moments that are actually critical points on how to win your own ranked games.
I think that you mentioned target priority as something very important in this game, right? And target priority, it needs to go hand to hand with communication.
Yes.
Because it's in that moment when everything goes crazy, when the chaos just hits the gorge, that people need to communicate. What are some tips on communication that you can give to the players at home?
I think, like, just, okay, first things first, pre-game, understanding, like, right before the game starts, who needs to die. Once you find that one person, that person makes the call of, oh, I found the channel. Everybody needs to be there, and that one person making that call ensures that everybody is target priorities.
So before the game starts, there's already need to be a plan.
Exactly.
That says, like, okay, we're going to first prioritize finding this person, and then after that, we're going to just push in. Is it correct?
Yes, that's the first part. The second part of that is, okay, since you know who to find, you then need to open your bag. Do you have the equipment to do it? Are you farmed up enough? Do you have the damage to finish the job?
So it means that it doesn't matter if you actually found the person, you still need to wait for the right moment to find that person.
Which was the mistake that Twisted Minds did earlier in this game. They got the first few kills, and then the turnaround by Daohan in the jungle on the side of APG turned that fight around. They regained control of the map from that point.
It looked like Twisted Minds were trying to take the fights to APG, but PHY with those boards either just locked them in and they were able to get away, or when they did, they would face check brushes and get caught out again by those boards. So APG understanding what Twisted Minds like to do, how they move around and face check at times, really was the detriment to this team here.
And look at the draft on the side of Alpha Gaming, right? One of the important things that you need to notice is that most of the heroes on the side of APG, they don't really require a lot of gold. So PHY on the Yixing, he's a utility mage. Saber, the Mozi, also utility. He doesn't need those big items. He just needs to make sure you stay in place. And where's the gold supposed to go? It's supposed to go into the 2 members, which is JD and Yulong.
And I mean, if we're looking at this one, comparing mid lane to mid lane, you were talking about the fact that PHY doesn't need the gold, but he did have the gold. I mean, 8,100 versus 5,800 from Hailong here, a huge mid diff, and the impact that you saw with not only the items, but the spells, PHY was really my MVP in this one.
That is one of the things that I love about the game, when you start just kind of scaling up in there, and you have already a goal difference. It does not even mean like, okay, team and team goal difference. In the same lane, when you have like a 3,000 goal difference, that's already a complete item.
Exactly, and with a completed item, it also increases your killing proficiency. And you know what? If you are in a position where you can take out one member on your opponent team, instantly becomes an unfair advantage. And we love unfair advantages because you want to win the game, you want to win the series, but you want to do it in such a convincing fashion that nobody will question your abilities.
I love advantages, and I'm going to just jump in there just to say that I love advantages. I love advantages in terms of gold. I love advantages in terms of teammates as well. When my teammates are doing great, I am super happy for them, and I'm completely sure that APG was happy that PHY was doing such an amazing performance, and that's the reason why he's going to be taking the MVP.
Okay,
I love this.
Yeah, learn the lessons of PHY, right? End of the day, look, you're giving me the farm, that's what you get, right? Mid lane, yo, this is the gameplay.
Look, your Yixing is good. I'll give you props where props are due. But look, PHY is next level with this hero, right? The impact that he had, the boxes, how many times he set it up. And I mean, you talk about the fact that you don't care about KDA, but PHY had a great one, 535. That was great.
I have good KDA sometimes as well. I mean, sometimes. But it's the important times.
Yeah, okay, a couple of times. I've also seen you die 17 times in one game. I don't think I've ever seen that on any other player, even with bots.
Okay, so he's not a liar. I have died 17 times in my ranked games, but it's the mistakes that you make and then you learn from them, right? Which is exactly what Alpha Gaming has done.
But why are you making mistakes with me? Do it in your solo queue. Make all the mistakes there, man.
I mean, it's a learning journey, and it's not about the destination. It's about the company we have during that journey. I just want to experience HOK with you.
If we take our eyes right now to what we're seeing on the screens, the global ban and picks, from what I'm seeing right over here, Twisted Minds and Alpha Gaming, they're really going to try to plan to push it to the 5th game.
Yeah, I would think so at this point. I think it's going to be the most important thing for both of these teams. We knew that both of these teams were very ready. They've been preparing. They're playing to a very high degree, and they're getting better and better as each game goes on. And going into Game 3, ever so important, but pretty much we have a best of 3 upon us.
For sure. I think at this point, I cannot decide. I'm sure you guys feel this as well. We cannot decide who has the advantage in the series because both teams have shown great, I mean, shades of greatness, and it's nothing is like, no, it's a fluke. No, that is not the case. They are very strong.
They are actually playing really well, not only in terms of like the mechanics of the players, but the communication. Alpha Gaming in that first game did not look that well, but right now, after they turn things around, they might have the upper hand.
I think the biggest thing going into this one is the fact that, yes, both of these teams are 1-1, but the other team can draw blood in the sense that you're able to overcome them. You're able to get that victory. That's a huge win in terms of the confidence boost going into this Game 3.
It's very important because you cannot let an initial difficulty put you in a position where you think, oh, this game is over, let's surrender. I mean, in professional competitions, that is not a case. You need to figure out what is the solution. Where do your winning moments come from? And both teams have shown us that you can find multiple winning moments even if you're behind.
If they can find the winning moment, they need to really just grasp that and then just hold it dearly, like dearly close to them, because this game is going to define who's going to take the advantage and who's going to get the match point.
Yeah, and it's all about this elimination game, right? Game 3 setting the tone. You would be at match point if you win this one. Everything, this one is going to be the most important run because, again, you never want to be behind. You don't want to be in that situation where, literally backs on the wall.
Yep. You are able to now dictate the pressure that your opponent team is going to face as they head into potentially that last match point, right? So this game, like you mentioned, I agree, it's a very critical and important game to win.
Yeah, and look, when we're talking about Twisted Minds and the fact that they're able to play a really good early game and kind of dictate the pace, and they kind of dominated the other teams because of that suffocating style, but they haven't really been able to get going. Alpha Gaming have just taken the fight to them. They've been the aggressors early and made them pay.
And Alpha Gaming really, once again, they have re-impressed me because the way that they play game number 2, they are a completely different beast than what they have shown us over the first few days of KWC.
Yeah, Alpha Gaming really stepping up to the plate. I mean, there were some inconsistencies in MKL. There were some moments where they were like flashes of brilliance, and then there were some times that were not so great. But they've really stepped up here. They seem to be getting much better, and this is starting to become another scary team from the MKL.
I mean, that's exactly what we wanted, right? We want champion material, and these teams are leveling up, showing us that they are worthy of this spot to take the honor in honor of kings.
Yeah, and look, if Twisted Minds was to beat out Alpha Gaming after they beat BSE, knocking out another MKL team, is Twisted Minds the Malaysia Destroyers?
Yeah, with so many destroyers in this particular Kings World Cup. And right now, Alpha Gaming, they say, no, that is not the storyline we're going with. That is not the destiny that will be realized today because we have the Long and the Diadea.
Yeah, nice little 1-2 punch here in that that bottom lane. I think that APG will be happy with that. But, you know, again, still far away. I do think that the Diadea Loong combination scales up quite well against the Gen.G on bottom lane.
I would actually favor the Long and Diadea matchup as well because, look, the Long, if you have that lead, you're actually able to force out preemptive ultimates from the Yuhuan. You can force her to use her ulti at bad times, right? Because she is already low. Now, they have the counter pick in the form of the Fatih. It's a skill matchup in the Clash lane because of this particular pick. But then also comes about positioning, right? We have seen teams use Fatih as a burst, big burst potential, and he's not a glass cannon.
Not a glass cannon at all. I mean, he does some serious... He has a lot of sustain. He does that damage. Plus, he has an amazing hat. I mean, what else could you ask for from a hero?
That's true. Okay. Maybe he is a glass cannon if you can land control, which is actually a big potential coming out from the Byron pick and the Diadea pick, both of which the second skills are able to latch onto people or stun them up.
Yeah, and that could be annoying to deal with. I mean, that CC, that crowd control, ever so important, especially on some of these heroes that are looking to just kind of get away, but you need ways to, again, just kind of bait out the Yuan on ending sorrows as much as possible. He might be a little tough to deal with.
Which is why I think I really like this ban coming up from Twisted Minds. They ban out the Shi. Now, you guys have already seen this performance, right? If you get caught out by her second skill, that Silky Beauty, she will be able to control you, pull you deeper into danger. And this is not what Twisted Minds want to do because they're going to try for the Luna. We have seen the Luna destroyed by a Shi many a times in KWC. Let's see what this Twisted Minds Clean have for us on this Luna gameplay.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a spectacle upon us. I mean, Clean is one of the best in terms of this Luna. The ability to get to that back line, in and out wherever you want to go. Plus, you're able to kind of potentially burst out Loong and then force him to take on, you know, the infinite vastness early in those team fights, and then you have the rest of them. But now Alpha Gaming looking to counterpick here. What kind of helps solidify this draft?
I think they like the independence here, Alpha Gaming, but they also need to be able to group up and fight, right? Because right now, oh wow, they go for the exact same strategy. You want to play the split fight, right? Jing and Luna, they're both very adept at going into their selected target, which is what we talked about, target prio, right? Finding their target, get the burst down, and then you have an unfair advantage in terms of numbers.
Yeah, if you're able to get that jump in, and especially with that Lady Jun, that protection of just like, you know, the Luna jumps in on you, you have that Ocean of Tears potentially saving you. Not the easiest thing to do, but you're going, you know, you're playing fire with fire, right? In the sense that the Jing versus this Luna, it's going to be high-flying, assassin-style junglers in your face.
This is a very different Alpha Gaming. Look, I love this draft coming out from Alpha Gaming. The killing potential coming out from Jing is much scarier than the Luna, only because of the Long and Gen.G pick. Long has a safety option in the form of his ultimate. He's able to get out of that particular space. The Gen.G, second skill, legal immunity, he gets debuffed, gets rid of the debuffs, but you're still stuck there. And I think as a Jing, you love that possibility.
Yeah, I do like the fact that Gen.G is really like the utility type farm laner, has a lot of options, has a lot of, you know, potential, but your positioning needs to be flawless. Obviously, Shanks is up to the task on this one, but he needs to ensure that he stays alive, doesn't get jumped on by the Yulong, which could be a potentially scary proposition.
Yes, and look, I like Hailang as a player. I think he has impressed me so far. But if he can use a Princess Frost to win and set up fights for the side of Twisted Minds against this particular lineup of APG, he is set a new impressive record. Because look, this game is not for Princess Frost. Too much mobility.
Yeah, too much mobility. He's going to be like targeted at the end of the day. He just needs to kind of, again, stay alive, get those frigid prisons off, give your team a chance more than anything else. But of course, second match of the day, Game 3. We're going to go through a best-of-5 between Alpha Gaming, Twisted Minds, and this is an elimination series here.
And the games, let's be honest, have been really quick. We have not seen a Tempest Dragon between us for the first 2 games yet.
Yeah, and we will definitely will at some point. But, you know, I think that both of these squads are willing to go the distance in that one, right? I think that it's going to be key for both of these squads to ensure that they get to that late game. But, I mean, with a Jing and a Luna, do you really want to be there?
I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
Both of these have very high burst potential. I think if you're talking about individual pickoff, yes, I think Yulong wins that battle. But if you're talking about team fight potential, I think Clean does a better job. He's able to catch more people out.
Yeah, and being able to catch those out, there's a lot of juicy targets in the back line. I mean, from both sides, right? So it's really going to come back to like Yulong and Clean, how they go. Saber looking and going in for that one, but Hailang goes down, PHY, but JD trades his life away, but he got first blood, so maybe not the worst thing.
Actually, in my opinion, it's a very bad thing for the side of Alpha Gaming. You traded out JD's life for Hailang, right? Yeah, Hailang died. So a mid for a farm, and farm laners need that goal.
Yeah, they're definitely needed this one. But look, the Ocean of Tears on to 2. The biggest thing here is that Hailang is kind of like a second roamer in this one. He's going to not, like, literally just funnel everything into Clean, stay alive more than anything else. But he, again, wants to cycle those cooldowns as much as possible.
We have seen teams use this particular strategy, where Hailang, I think in this game, he's prepared to give his life multiple times so that they have the distraction of target. And you can't leave Hailang alone. If you leave him alone, you give him the patience, the calmness, composure to land his second skill, you are done for.
Yeah, you won't have too much of a chance. But PHY kind of in the same boat, right? Very similar play style in terms of just staying alive, ensuring that, again, he's getting those stuns off as much as possible. It really comes down to the mid laners in these team fights, especially in the mid to late game of who's controlling whom.
Yes, it's really about efficiency, right? Because given a choice, both teams, they will ignore Hailang, they will ignore PHY, right? The ideal targets on both sides is, let's go for the farm lane, let's go for the jungle. We get those big burst damage down, and then we can start to work on the rest of the team.
Yeah, which is going to be key, right? And look, they definitely can put them down as much as possible. They can, the potential for burst will always be available to them. But it really comes back to, like, how do they get to those backliners? JD is going to have far superior positioning.
Yes, both teams right now need to really consider this question that you just posed, right? So positioning, like you said, is going to be very important. And also, I think this then reverts us back into that situation. What difference can Hailang and PHY make? Because they are the utility mages. They are the setup for the team.
Yeah, a lot of setup. But speaking of setup here, PHY looking for that potential gank. I mean, he scots out CT Boy, which is really not the target, especially since he's got Unending Sorrow. But seeing as PHY has been off the map for so long, Twisted Minds are gotta suspect something is array.
For sure. At the same time, top lane as well, right? Everyone is missing off the map for the side of Twisted Minds. You have to be concerned as your APG.
Yeah, but here's the teleport Clean showing up. The mirror domain, that's going to be the first one of the game. Yulong, he dashes in, dashes out, gets the safety.
Yeah, but they burn out an important skill about, what, 20 seconds before that first 4-minute Tyrant. Is that enough time for them to force them away in the attempt for that Tyrant?
Yeah, but you can't really burst it down, especially with this lineup. You don't really have that tanky frontliner, so I think that they're going to be looking for the kill before they take that Tyrant down, especially since they don't want a 50-50 on it.
That's true. I mean, the goal gap is really close, right? And you know, in situations where you have a decent lead, the jungler goal difference is going to make a huge point. But for now, they're really neck and neck.
Yeah, definitely neck and neck in this one. The Tyrant being pulled out of his lair, he's going to go right back in. The Unending Sorrow used a little bit on the earlier side, especially especially in this team fight. CT Boy is going to be committing that. The Tyrants, Yulong looking to go in. Clisso is clean, gets the kill, finds PHY, but the stun has been up. Saber's going to be killed, and with the Mirror Domain, it's not going to be enough. 3 members down from APG, and with that steal, I think that is okay in the end, but they lost 3 members.
Yes, but you know what? The one person we need to talk about is Hailang. We talked about this Princess Frost. He got the freeze on the team, and he got the freeze onto the jungler. That was the biggest moment. He put down that Winter is here. The nice freeze. Yes, he get the steal, but you do it at the cost of so many members on the side of Alpha Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge commitment. I don't think it was really worth it in the end. Yes, it's the first Tyrant, but 3 members down, that is a huge shift. 2.4K net worth lead for Twisted Minds.
Yep, so we talk about proficiency depth, and you can see the damage. One mistake, it's a 3,000 goalie.
Oh, he goes right in. He wants to go right on top of Shakes. Shakes gets picked off Yulong with a homing missile, but he trades his life away.
That's a good trade. I would take this trade any day as a Twisted Minds player. I once again shut down Yulong. I delay your farm, and now Clean has an advantage. He can dive onto your backlines.
Yeah, it definitely has that potential here, but here we go. It looks like APG want to make the action happen, even with Yulong down for the count. Twisted Minds are like, okay, that's a questionable call, but Clean in the mid lane, cleaning up that farm.
It's a bait, right? And Twisted Minds doing so well. Look at the amount of space they got for themselves. Clean, he gets 2 lanes of waste, gets his buff, the Azure buff in that middle, the bottom part of his jungle. And now, APG, they're lacking behind in farm. And that 3,000 goalie they've acquired stays there.
Yeah, actually huge. If you're looking at Clean right now, not only does he have that net worth lead, but he has a 2-level advantage over Yulong. And Clean might not be in the greatest of spots. He's going to be focused here, but he's got those shields. He dashes over the wall, eats a flaming palm, and now APG on the run. They realize that the reinforcements have arrived, but CT Boy taking most of the damage on his way out.
That was a damage limitation coming in from the side of APG.
No,
but Daohen
just running it down, finds Daohen, slash after slash, and Daohen, all he can do is eat it, and he goes down.
Yep, truly 19 night at this point. As Twisted Minds, they're taking this dominance to a different level. You had a great game 2, never mind. We will have game number 2 in our points.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I love the fact that they're like, hey, Daohen had a pretty good game. Let's focus him down. Let's make him a little bit uncomfortable, really take the fight to him. And they've done that as well as on focusing on Yulong as much as possible.
Yes, and look, the trade is never in favor of APG. Even if they get the T1 at the bottom, they lose the T2 at the top, and they also give away the Overlord to the side of Twisted Minds.
Yeah, and I think they'll be okay with that. I mean, Nighty was not able to defend that bottom T1. APG able to take that the first tower of the game for them, but now they're on the defensive still. This net worth lead, almost 4K at this point, pretty sizable.
Yes, if I'm on Alpha Gaming, I am in shambles at this point, right? Where is our winning moment? Where is the turnaround time? And it's not going to show for the next few seconds.
Not going to be easy for them. Twisted Mind still up in front. CT Boy, he's going to take a lot of damage. Not able to get that on any sorrow. He was trying to face check that one, and I guess that's one way for APG to get back in, but it's just a roam.
I'm glad I said it in seconds, because literally seconds after I said that, he got taken down. But yes, a good recovery for APG, but they need a little bit more.
Oh, Daohen, the force field suppression. Clean is going to be focusing on. Saber's walking around, potentially going for that steal. Gets the bitter farewell on to Clean, who's just dancing in and out. The ride the wind, knocking him back. He's going to be pushed back. He's going to eat some damage. Clean now running for his life. He might have gone too far. He gets picked off. JD with the damage. Here's the flash on forward. Nighty looking for the revenge. Finds Saber, but Infinite Fastness right on top. They've got Nighty as well. 2 members down. Hailang now is going to be focused in. Shakes solo. Eats a flaming palm from JD. Gets the pick off and finds him out, but here comes CT Boy. Gets that revenge kill.
Worthwhile trade, because if you take a look, once the dust settles, APG, once again, they don't have any map control. There is no recovery. You cannot invade camps. You cannot take turrets. Maybe a T1 at the top, but the map is fully in control on the side of Twisted Minds.
But you have to kind of continue to push, right? I mean, they got a 3-for-2 trade. That was not the worst thing. APG looking for these small wins in this game. Yes, they have a long way to go, but that's a good start.
So let's do the comparison and take a look at the replay here. The dive, why did they make this dive in the first place? It was not exactly a good fight for the side of Twisted Minds, but if you take a look at what's happening across the map, that mid T2 already being chunked down by the Vanguards. And at this point, I need to point you in the direction of Hailang. Hailang on this Princess Frost has been a game changer, getting the appropriate pieces, And getting JD down, that's important. It doesn't matter whether you trade Shanks for it, as long as you get JD in return.
Yeah, and look, Daohan, the way he was able to bait out Shanks in that fight, I mean, Shanks just like was sticking around, he wasn't sure exactly how to do it, and that was enough space for JD to get that kill onto Shanks, which was huge in terms of just changing the dynamics of this game.
Yes, and once again, they are looking for that positional advantage. Twisted Minds, they have pressure in the mid lane, they have pressure on the T1 on the bottom. They get rewarded with the T1 at the bottom for now.
They'll take that one. I think at this point, Twisted Minds will be happy with it. But again, 20 more seconds before the Shadow Tyrant. It's going to be pretty huge for Twisted Minds to ensure that they continue with this map control. This net worth lead has kind of dwindled a bit, though.
It has, but Twisted Minds, if you take a look at what they're making APG choose, there's always a choice they have to make.
Oh, and 90 finding Yulong. CT Boy is there as well. They're doing the damage. The Heart Link is, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. The Mirror Domain, the Unending Sorrow on back, keeping CT Boy alive. And APG, yes, they've been aggressive, but the Mirror Domain has been used. Shank staying alive, but that Infinite Fastness, he is very low, needs to be careful where he lands. Hylan goes for the flat forward play, doesn't actually get him with that Frigid Prison. He's going to stay alive in that regard, but Twisted Minds still sticking around. Yes, Shanks and 90 are back in their side of the map, but Twisted Minds, again, putting the pressure on.
Look, Twisted Minds keeps giving so many options to APG. Number one, you have to defend your base. Do you manage the waves? Do you go for the Tyrant? Do you take a fight? Too many choices. More is less at this point.
Yeah, but I like the way that Twisted Minds are playing. You want to ask questions, right? Does APG have the answers to all of them? I mean, right now it looks like the bottom lane will push, so Twisted Minds will have to kind of change on that one. But with this Shadow Tyrant potentially going to be up, kind of be careful. They find Clean, they get the pick off, and JD gets the kill. The Tyrant is going to be back in. What an amazing initiation, but now Daohan on the run, they're going to be backing off. They still have the numbers advantage. JD with a flaming palm, snipes out Hylan. He caught him out. JD still there. He gets picked up. 90 makes him pay, and now APG solo. PHY's down for the count. It's a 2 for 2.
Okay, a decent recovery for the side of APG. Yes, they get that Shadow Tyrant for themselves. They did manage to get Hylang and Clean. Decent targets, not bad, but they had to trade JD for it.
Yeah, not the greatest of trades. But again, the fact that Yulong stayed alive, I think he is, again, one of your win conditions, not the end of the world.
Okay, we also have to highlight JD in that previous skirmish. He was on point, getting those snipes really big. Let's take a look at JD's positioning. Right, he's going to be hiding at the bottom side of the map with the help of his support as well. Now, JD gets the first kill on the Clean, so that takes away a lot of control coming in from the side of Twisted Minds. But then he follows it up, a double onto Hylan, and now there's a lack of control, even lesser fighting prowess on the side of Twisted Minds.
Yeah, I'm wondering if JD kind of went a little bit closer to his side, but here's the Unending Sorrow from CT Boy. They're going to get the pullback, they get the kill. Yulong makes him pay. You stick your foot out, and you pay with your life.
Okay, so it's a little bit of consolation prize because still they have to head back and defend that incoming wave on the top side. Let's take a look at how the gold has been progressing so far. Both junglers neck and neck at 10,000 gold already.
Yeah, and this is the battle that we wanted to have seen, right? Like both of these guys really going at it. Of course, they're going to do so much damage. They're trying to just control this game, have that like jump in, that miracle play, and really have that impact. And both of these junglers up to the task, but man, this game is 50-50.
It truly is, right? There's less than 1,000 that sets them apart. In fact, it's about 500 gold. Now, if you take a look at the itemization, a little bit more damage going for Yulong here, taking up the Siege Breaker, but it's a little bit more defensive coming in from Clean as he has taken the Protector Q-Ras. Now, decisions have to be made. Twisted Minds, like you said, posted question. There is a Shadow Overlord flying on the bottom. What's the play here?
Yeah, well, obviously just looking to hold, right, more than anything else. Deal with that Shadow Vanguard. Don't lose anything. The top Vanguard is going to be pushing in. That's a problem for them now. And now you have a numbers advantage. You force somebody into the top lane. How do you respond?
It's a very smart move. They keep pulling them away.
Oh, JD still up in front. Needs to be careful with that Flaming Palm. The Infinite Vast is used instantaneously, but 90 with a two-man stun. He's going to find the rest of them, and Saber taking a lot of damage. He might have got caught out, and it's not going to be enough. He does. He gets to safety, excuse me, with that flash, but here come the reinforcements. They've got him locked in. The Frigid Prison from Hylan. So clutch.
Who are you? I mean, Hylan, he was asking the questions. So what if you're the Jing? I'm going to freeze you. And they took the timing of that fight perfectly. quickly because look, the Overlord now has opened the door to T3.
Yeah, this is a huge one. The Winter is here covering it, most of this, doing a lot of the zoning. The Oceaneers in return, but they've already taken the bottom T3. Twisted Minds taking advantage and control of this game.
Now, they're presented with the exact same situation they had yesterday. Are you going to over-aggress and make that same mistake?
I'm going to answer for them, and I'm going to say no. I think that they've learned their lesson. They should do a much better job. Slow siege, don't do anything risky.
Yeah, this is the power. High Lang pushes them back.
Yeah, the Winter is here again, just clearing the area, making things difficult for them to go. But they didn't take the mid T3. It's barely hanging on by a thread.
Okay, so that's not necessary at this point, right? We want to stifle the growth. Can they get the Crimson buff? They will not. JD puts his hands onto that Crimson Golem, and now this is the next big, more monumental moment for the side of Twisted Minds, or maybe APG.
Yeah, this could be huge here, but I mean, Twisted Minds, they do have a bit of an advantage. The bottom lane will constantly push. JD's already there to kind of shore things up, but they're looking for the pull. Clean finds PHY in a little bit of an aggressive spot. He's at half-life, needs to be careful. Shadow Tyrant, like, potentially being started.
Yeah, it's not a good situation. PHY was forced and baited to use his ultimate early. That is a form of control that is lost for the side of APG.
Force Field Suppression was also used as well. The Tyrant is going to be back in his lair. The Winter is here. It's going to be used. Yulong tried to go for Clean, not able to get the pick off, but now Hylong on the run. He's going to get a little bit low. Shanks gets picked off. The Infinite Fastness. JD looking to go potentially aggressive. No, he's going to go in reverse.
90 holding on the back line, so making sure he gives information to the team. Twisted Minds, they're going to try again.
Yeah, but no real chance.
Oh, nice
Clean
catch.
looking to go in. Nice little catch, but that's going to be Sage's Sanctuary. 90 on cleanup. Gets the kill on this. JD and Yulong both down. Make that a triple. Saber goes down, and they find them out. The pullback from Clean. Absolutely amazing. Dowhead fighting for his life. He's going to be killed, and a quadra kill going the way of 90.
You have to run for your life, but that life is no longer available. Twisted Minds, this is a comeback game for them. A dominant display. They are so far ahead, and the Crystal is wide open. All three lanes, the waves are marching in.
What kind of team was like, I don't have my farm laner, it doesn't matter, we have Clean, that initiation, that pull, and because of that team fight, they win the game. They're up 2-1 in the series.
That is why they're called Twisted Minds, because they will fight you even when it looks like a bad situation.
Just a great call right there. I mean, like, it's questionable, right? If you're talking about your own games, going in 4 versus 5, but Clean was like, no, 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 I am at that point. I am Superman. I will take this game over.
I think this was really a overconfidence coming in from the side of APG. Yulong, he found himself in a very dire situation. Do you know why? It's because he dove into the backlines on the side of Twisted Minds, and suddenly he found himself in the clasp of 4 different members on the side of Twisted Minds with no backup. 90, his positioning this game was so sick. He was hiding the brushes, waiting for JD and Saber to be grouped up together. And late game, Fatih, it is a burst cannon. It's a rocket, boom, and JD was gone.
Yeah, and that's why he's so good, right? It's just being able to be in the perfect spot, and the ambush spot to understand that this movement, everybody's going to be coming here. I know exactly where I need to be. I need to be patient, just waiting in the wings for that perfect moment, and he's always on point.
This is why I love the later parts of a competition, because when you have the creme de la creme teams, they show you those little moments that you can copy in your ranked games, and I'm going to copy that play tonight.
Hopefully, Ken is going to be good at copying that. Hopefully, it's not going to be with us. Hopefully, we hope for that. But it's totally fine, man. Like, you just go and give it a try. I think that at the end of the day, this is just a game. You need to go and give it a try. And when it works, it works. And when it doesn't work, I hope that it's just not going to be in our rank. Well, boys, Twisted Minds right now take an advantage. That's lovely. That last fight, we mentioned that it is just unconventional, the way that they do not have their core players, the core deal bringers, and they still go for it.
Yeah, I think that this is more of why Alpha Gaming were like, actually, there's no way they take a fight for us versus 5.
Yeah.
We can be a little bit more aggressive. We can kind of be trying to go in as much as possible, and that's why they got caught off guard, because they're like, oh crap, we've grouped up, Clean is coming in, gets that amazing initiation, and just cleans them out.
Exactly. I think positioning is the key lesson here on the side of this game number 3 between Twisted Minds and Alpha Gaming, right? Always find yourself in a good position and don't overcommit into, you know, the middle of 4 different people. I know it sounds like a simple advice, but this is why we're here, right? We have hindsight bias. We get to see the play first before we get called out. But take a look at the stats here. Shanks dealing 22% of the team's hero damage, 71.8k. Respectable amount. But I think, look, this game, it's really just Clean and 90 for me. They were the big difference makers, especially Clean. 31% of the damage offered by APG soaked up like a sponge by this guy.
Yeah, and also Hailong, the fact that he had that amazing Frigid Prison right onto Yulong, that catch, that could have completely changed the dynamic of the game. Just really well played right when you needed to. And I mean, that was a nail-biter. That was a very close game. That was not a full Twisted Minds game, but just understanding the win condition, getting that kill and turning it into a victory, were really well played by Twisted Minds here.
Hailong, he has impressed us from, what, EWC last year to championships. And once again, as we head into this new year, KWC 2025, he has once again raised that bar. The amount of times he caught the most important member on the side of APG, Mr. Yulong, with a Frigid Prison. That was insane. How do you do that? How do you pre-plan that he's going to be at this exact place with your Frigid Prison? Because there is a delay. You don't instantly have it.
And then it's very difficult since Yulong was playing such a mobile hero as well, right?
Yeah,
but I'm telling you, let's move forward with the game because it's been an amazing performance by Hailong, amazing performance by 90 as well, because he's going to become our MVP of this game.
I think 90's, I mean, look, 7-1-4, it's all about the KDA on this one, but he was doing so much damage, 26% of the total team damage. I mean, he had a lot of gold, and he was always in front at the right time with the right ambushes, ensuring that he got those kills, getting that number advantage to really take over this game.
Yeah, you know when a punch hurts? It's when it lands, right? So you need to be in position and close enough to be able to get the guy. And that's exactly what 90 offered on the lineup of Twisted Minds. If you take a look at the replay, you just go back, watch the game again, watch where 90 was. He was so close to JD, and here's the restraint that I'm talking about. He did not show. There were moments where he could have just, hey, you know what, I want to get a couple of punches on the JD first. But if he did that too early, JD would have understood that this was a dangerous situation and moved out. He waited for the team to melt JD to an appropriate amount, and then he came out and threw the punches.
I'm telling you, that Fatih, I don't know how many times it's been MVP. I think that hero is one of the answers to this KWC 2025. It's very sad because we cannot just use one of those bans for the Fatih. We cannot put him in there. We have to prioritize other heroes. So Fatih has been the answer in these 6 days.
Yeah, and if we're looking at this lineup here, I mean, it was really just kind of solid throughout. They really understood what they wanted to have done. Like, everybody really stepped up. I mean, with that Princess Frost from Hailong, even to the Fatih, Luna, Shanks on that D-range. Like, everybody had that impact. Everybody was always there at the right time, and they were backing each other up. Again, the team synergy, the coordination, the communication has been really on point in this series.
Okay, so I want you guys to pay attention to these couple of heroes. Number one, Long, Fatih, the Yu Huan. These three heroes now have been picked by both teams, which means that there is no more options for these heroes to be played by both of these teams. So now we're going to go down that rabbit hole about, okay, let's take a look at the new options for both teams.
It is not only about the new options, right? It's just like the new combinations. Because you can just actually just come up with, okay, I have a lot of heroes out here, but do you actually have the comps? If you don't have if you don't have the composition for that, it is going to be really difficult to actually make it work.
Yeah, and it's about just having the deep hero pool to play them, and then to have something that's actually synergizing, right? Like, yeah, we could kind of spitball and we can kind of pick whatever hero we like, but it's got to work well together. And obviously, it's a best of 5. I'm pretty sure these two teams, especially the KWC at this stage, are going to be well prepared.
That's why you have to take every pick with serious consideration. Is this the best time to play this combination? And if you do pick it, do you get the win? This is why it hurts so much when you have what may seem like a good composition and you lose. It hurts you a lot because it's a double whammy.
Ken, would you be able to become a coach? What do you think? Is this something that would passion you, just going and analyzing all this and just being able to come up with strategies?
I can answer on behalf of Kin. Yes, he could be a coach because he's really good at yelling at people.
Oh, okay. Wow. So he would be that kind of coaches that then when the players are saying, like, may I be on this one? He's like, no! You are gonna hear me.
Yes, and yes, dare I say physical violence maybe, at least for some walls, let's be honest.
Okay, look, no one can hurt me better than myself. So I'm gonna say, yes, I can be a coach, but you may not like my coaching style.
Ken, if you become a coach, hire me. I'll be playing for your team.
Okay, let's go right now. Next KWC, guys, we're going to be showing up, and our team name, I don't know. I can't think of it now.
Well, we'll have to figure something out, but still, this brand of tofu is an acquired taste, huh?
Oh, okay. You know, this is fermented tofu. It comes, it ages with experience, and it's a good taste. Only for those that have learned to appreciate the goodness of wisdom and time.
I am loving this. I am loving this. We are going to move. Maybe next year we will be coming here as hosts and casters. Maybe next year we're going to go through the Open Series, and then we can make it all the way back over here to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Same as everyone at home, right? Everyone, if you're at home, go and talk to your friends, go and talk to your family. Try to put together a team and try to go and sign up for that Open Series.
Guys, if you feel like you can do a better job than Isaac as well as Holler, don't be afraid. Feel free to reach out.
Please.
I will be your coach for the next KWC if you make it. All right, now let's take a look at Twisted Minds and Alpha Gaming. We talked about this earlier in that previous game, which is the winner of the previous game now gets to put this immense amount of pressure on their opponents. And Alpha Gaming, unfortunately, they are the ones experiencing this immense pressure, because if they lose this game, they are going home.
This is the scary moment, right? You're down 1-2, elimination. You got to get this game, you got to win 2 games in a row, right? That's the way you got to look at this. But of course, 1 game at a time. Let's go slow and steady. It wasn't the worst game in the world. Yes, we made some mistakes, but we need to shore those up, and we need to do them very quickly.
Yes, it's really not about the mistakes that you make, right? It's really about, okay, understanding why that mistake was made. How do you correct it? Is it correctable in the first place? And don't dwell on your past mistakes, right? Look forward, look for the future, look for those winning moments. You have to, in order to make the difference, you have to find the difference first.
Yeah, and if it's anything, if it's like my ranked games, and I would just blame my teammates. But in this one, it's not as easy. Obviously, you guys have been playing together for as long as you have, both of these guys, both of these teams. There's got to be a lot of the whole growth, the experience of, yes, we lose, but we're learning and we're getting better. We need to shore up those mistakes.
Oh, I really love this, Alpha Gaming. Now, one of these combinations was shown yesterday, which is the Lian Po and Liu Bang combination. Now, that combination is no longer available because Alpha Gaming have banned out the Ogren as well as the Liu Bang. Now, this means Twisted Minds have not used the Ogren yet, which is why they have that pick as an availability. But they have also banned out 2 different junglers on the side of Twisted Minds, so I feel like maybe the farm lane or maybe the support is going to be the prio.
Yeah, definitely with the prio here, but it looks like they're going to go with that farm laner in that Chano. Great pick, just kind of start things off. Again, doesn't show your hand, and that's like the biggest thing when it comes to these drafts, of like just trying to outclass them, outsmart them, and just having a very solid, well-rounded draft.
Yes, so Twisted Minds have already expanded the Yuhuan roam, they've already expanded the Zhang Fei roam, so you're left with the Lian Po, right? This is why Alpha Gaming said, okay, no Liu Bang, because we know that's one of your potential picks. Now, Alpha Gaming, they're going to showcase the other side of the coin here, the Princess Frost and Liang combination. We have seen teams crumble, or we have seen teams really take it to the skies with this particular combination. It is very vulnerable to disruption. So, does the Lian Po come into play?
I mean, yes and no. Okay, yeah, it's clearly a yes here. It's a great way to kind of deal with the Liang, that lockdown, right? I think that teams are really honing in on this in terms of just how to just stop him from controlling you. Like, that's like the biggest thing, because again, he's a very static target, but they also picked the Guan Yu as well. So just really great in that regard.
Okay, so let me explain to you guys, our new players, why Guan Yu is picked here. One of the things you will notice about Alpha Gaming's lineup, Princess Frost and Liang, is that they must be consistently close with each other. And what is the strength of Guan Yu? He is a person that enables you to gather your opponents into one spot. And who benefits more greatly than Lian Po, who has the Tremor Smash, able to get an AoE stun and setup on your team?
Yeah, the repositioning is huge. I think that that's going to be like the biggest thing of just like setting him up. I mean, we've seen the power of the Guan Yu in some other series where they're able to really dictate things. I mean, if you're looking at Alpha Gaming and just kind of how static they are in terms of the Liang and the Princess Frost, getting on that rear, potentially pushing them back with that Razor Cavalry could be team fight winning.
Okay, so that's one perspective that we offer you. Here's the reverse of that perspective. Now, one of the things that Guan Yu suffers against is the fact that if he cannot get his movement speed up, he is a terrible hero to play. He's practically useless in that essence. So, Liang, suppression, he's able to cancel out the Lianpo ultimate. Princess Frost, if he gets the Frigid Prison onto Guan Yu, you can easily burst him down. So this is the double-edged sword. And Alpha Gaming, in order to kind of cut out that disadvantage, they're going with the huge burst potential, the Fade, also known as the objective monster. He should be able to get every single neutral objective in this game if left undisturbed.
But, I mean, if you're looking at this Alpha Gaming lineup, very squishy. Really, like, glass cannon-y utility style. There are definitely some weaknesses to it. Twisted Minds, definitely on the tankier side. They're beefier boys in that regard. Is it going to be enough? I mean, Fade could potentially jump the back line, but aside from the Chano at this point, like, who are you looking to go on?
I have no idea. And oh my goodness, we get to see it. Yes, yes, yes. Hansing. This is a hero I have missed in the entirety of KWC. Why is Hansing so strong? He has anti-CC in his ultimate. He's able to reposition himself multiple times in a flash of a second, right? 1 second, 2 seconds, he's gone. And Twisted Minds, they're going to double down on the strength of Hailang. He's going to pick up the Mai. Once again, not the best win rate. You know, Mai has not been very consistent in KWC, but if it's in the hands of Hailang, maybe it stands a chance.
Yeah, and look, this is more of Hailang's playstyle, where he likes to be that high-flying type. Yes, he's sacrificed himself in terms of playing like more like Lady John, Princess Frost types in the series thus far, but he is more than capable of playing this Mai. I expect to see fireworks here.
So it's a good draft from the side of Twisted Minds, but it's also a risk that they are willing to take, right? Because they have that backseat cushion, the safety net that, hey, even if they lose this game, they have the final game in this series. Alpha Gaming, it's kind of different for them. They need to play picture perfect in this game. They have to come back.
APG right now, I mean, that lineup, kind of tough to play. Like, it's a very high risk, high reward. Everybody needs to have perfect positioning, stay alive, and then, yeah, we can steamroll and take this game. But if we're looking at lineups, I mean, I'm looking at the Twisted Minds one, and it's looking way more balanced and, dare I say, easier to play, which is always kind of what you want in some of these games.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but then we can't discount JD. Lady Sun is one of those very big burst potential heroes. He can get rid of 90 really fast, and Hailang as well.
Yeah, and look, if we're going to see which of these two lineups that you're going to give an edge to, who are you giving it to?
I am actually going to give it to APG. I feel like that level 4 power spike is a little bit stronger on the side of Alpha Gaming, but only if they're allowed to grow to that level with no deficit.
I don't know. APG's lineup to me is you're on a timer. You got to finish the game out. Oh, nice little two-man stun. Hailang is on the dashing away. Has to flash away, though. Wasn't able to get the follow-up. No kills were had.
Okay, but that's a big advantage for the side of APG. So they force out that flash from Hailang. So for the next... until the cooldown of that flash, they are in absolute danger, but a lot of damage on the JD so far.
A lot of damage at this point. Twisted Minds, though, wants to get the Firehawk. Don't want to give it up to Saber, who's a little on the lower end. Does need to be careful. The burst ram onto him, finds him. The flash away, just staying alive. But now JD wants revenge. He's doing some work on his Shanks. Yulong is looking for the revenge tour. He tries to go for Shanks, not able to get the snipe out. Yulong makes a rotation, not able to get the kill.
That was a little bit too early. I think, okay, that's good to trust your teammates, but you also have to have that situation awareness to know that, hey, maybe we're not going to get this kill.
It's a commitment there, right? And they're trying to make it happen, but unfortunately, sometimes when you swing, sometimes you're going to miss, right? And that happened to be the case in this one.
Yep, the shimmy is coming through. Shenanigans as Clean comes in, gets that extra EXP shared between the 3 members of Twisted Minds. And Clean now looking for an opening.
He's going to be your win condition, right? Yeah, you have Shanks. Hailang is going to create that space and provide a lot in that regard. But, you know, Clean is the guy that you want to be getting as much farm as possible here.
That's right, because not only can he do damage, he is a monster at split pushing as well. Now, taking the first cap away from Yulong.
Oh, look at this Crimson. Potentially up for... no, they're not going to contest on this one. Twisted Minds will just deal with it. They're going to take their own red instead.
Yeah, smart decision here. There's no need to take unnecessary risks. At the same time, when he comes back to take this Crimson buff, he also inadvertently provides protection to Shanks if they choose to dive on it on the side of APG.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, I think that that's definitely where you want to be. You want to protect Shanks as much as possible. And any sort of, you know, front liner to keep him alive, I think they're going to have a great time. APG, on the other hand, like, look, this lineup, like, I look at them and they just might die. But if they get the jump on me, they're going to pick me off. Like, this is a very bursty glass cannon lineup.
High risk, high reward from both teams, right? So if you get that successful catch, I think it's almost a guaranteed kill, and it could potentially turn into a very successful team fight on either end. So vision is very important. The T1 in the mid, very important. And your buff timings also very important.
It's going to be huge on this one. It's going to be game changing. But like, again, you have also Yulong, who's going to be kind of stepping on those walls, using his map hack, so to speak, to kind of provide that vision and get the jump on a potential target from Twisted Minds.
But he's trailing, right? He's at 2.3 thousand right now. He's behind in EXP, behind in gold and clean. He's just going to keep pushing and putting pressure onto the different objectives on the map for APG.
Oh, clean potentially going in, finds him and gets first blood onto Saber. Twisted Minds have been sticking together for quite some time. Finally, it pays dividends.
That's why he's called clean. What a perfect performance. And to take Yulong's life at this point, is Saber's life is such an important marker because number one, it amplifies your farm and EXP for clean. But also, this 4-minute mark, it will take some time. They can't contest this.
You're complimenting clean, and yes, they're going to pick up the Tyrant here, but he had the rest of the team to back him up. Hailong and CT Boy. This is why I don't like you all as a core, because you're ungrateful of all the support that you're getting.
I'm just looking around at the map. We have to focus on the important members. Oh, Saber.
Oh, the control. They've got him locked down. They have a lot of damage. He was trying to go in for the save, but 90, not enough. Gets the pullback. At least they're going to get the return in PHY. Do they get more? Yulong gets sniped in as well. Gets that kill. And Twisted Minds with a 2-to-1 advantage.
Clean coming in.
Clean looking to go even for more. Finds Daohen. Gets the pullback. Doesn't get the kill. Actually, Daohen running away, but he gets the rest of them. APG down 4 members.
They don't care. Okay, they gave Daohen a sliver of a chance to run away. That's fine, but they take away the Azure Golem. Yulong needs that cooldown reduction. He needs that mana regeneration. So what if you have the burst potential? If you don't have access to your skills, you're still in that same position.
And it looks they've actually found 90, and it looks like Clean is going to be on the run, so they did get at least a return kill, but the mid T1 is taken down.
Yeah, it's a horrible situation for the side of Alpha Gaming. At the same time, look, 90 is playing so well. This is the reason why you pick up the Guan Yu, right? You want to gather the team into one singular spot, and that is a strength on the side of the synergy for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, great play right there. Twisted Minds ensuring. But look, Clean was actually very low. He could have been killed here. They find Daohen, who has to get a little bit serious. He gets pulled back. He gets killed. Hailong with another.
Yep, pick off after pick off. This is exactly the game that Twisted Minds wants, and there is more to be had. The rewards are bountiful here. Crimson Golden available for the steal.
Yeah, but it's going to be contested. Shanks is going to be all the way. He's going to be pulled back in.
So
They're
smart.
zoning them away. Twisted Minds doing some Twisted Minds thing by invading the enemy jungle, taking everything.
And also, they forced out Yulong, right? So they knew that once his ultimate was activated, sure, you are guaranteed that buff. So what do? We reset that buff.
Super smart, understanding just the micro of this game, like the mechanics and how to play against it and just taking it away. Yulong thought he had it, was looking to walk away, but Twisted Minds not giving up anything.
Definitely not giving up anything, and in fact, putting more pressure on this Azure Golem.
Azure Golem is going to be pulled away. 90 looking for that perfect entangle. He gets the first ram, though. They find PHY. 90 still under the tower. They need to be careful. Daohen looking to go all in. Finds Hailong, but he trades his life away.
Yeah, PHY and Daohen for the price of Hailong. I will take that. That's a offer at this point. 50% off as more damage is laid down on the T2 in the mid.
I mean, with 2 members down, I mean, yes, you have Hailong. It looks like Twisted Minds are going to take the mid T2. They've been taking over this game with this map control.
Yeah, very clear understanding of what the win condition for Yulong is. It's not even about, hey, what's the win condition for Twisted Minds? They are taking the win condition of Yulong and making it into a lose condition.
He's got no chance. He's been struggling. Yes, he's got the most amount of gold on the team in terms of APG, but Clean and Shanks have just taken even more. Clean has been on fire. The way he's farming is just all over the map.
And we talked about the Lianpo pick, right? Why is it so important? Because he's disrupting everything. And that's not the only disruption. 90 as well. Because of the distraction of City Boy, they have to focus on defending against City Boy. 90 is free to roam, gets the catch, gathers everyone, the fishing net.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Saber really make those sorts of control ganks, right? Like, a lot of it wants to be around. We haven't seen very many at all. I can't even count of a single one, to be honest. But CT Boy is there for that counter initiation with that burst ramp, disrupting everything. This has been a great pick.
Yes, and now, once again, we readdress the Mai. Hailang now at level 10. What is this use of the Mai? Mai with a level advantage against Saber, very easy burst. One full combination, Saber is dead. Against PHY, one level advantage. Same situation, and even if he can't get the kill, Shanks has an opening to get the jump shot.
Yeah, it has a lot of damage. I mean, Clean, Hailang, Shanks, all of these guys really pick your poison of, like, yeah, you might go on them, but like, how do you control Clean? How do you deal with Shanks and Hailang looking to jump on you? They really don't have any answers, and now the bottom T2 under siege, Twisted Minds having their way with them.
Yes, and if you want to understand what is the win condition for Yulong as this played, he wants you to be able to be at a low health. But with City Boy standing in the front, he's the one soaking the damage. So there is no insta-kill option for the side of Yulong. And take a look at the goal difference. It's 2,500 ahead for Clean. He is way ahead of his competition.
Feels bad, man, especially if you're Yulong. You're trying to get his farm. You make that entire shift, and that's what APG, they were looking for somebody in their jungle to potentially get the pick off. They didn't find anyone. They got caught wanting, and now they have to go back to their base to defend. Right now, APG not finding any kills. Unlucky in that regard, but man, this is a tough game to come back from.
They definitely cannot find a clean opening at this point. If they want to kill Clean, they have to commit everything just to be able to take him down. He's at 15. They get the freeze, but what can they do? They have to run away.
Yeah, if they didn't hit that freeze, though, that could have been a potential kill. So PHY, you know, that was a massive frigid prison in that regard of keeping the team alive. Because again, if they get the power play, a one single person advantage, Twisted Minds might be able to just end the game.
And the timing of the itemization, once again, I mean, my attention is pointed at Hailang. He just got this scepter of reverberation, but he completed that insatiable tome first, that pink color book that you see there, because he wants to survive so that they can provide more room for the team. But APG might be caught out. 90 is looking for an opening.
Oh, he goes for the Razor Cavalry, catches out two, but he's been stuck in that frigid prison in return. 90's going to trade his life away, but they have the stuns and they have the damage. They find three members. They want to go for Dow, and they do get this. In fact, 90 and Highline both down for the count. CT Boy still up in front, wants to go for JD, makes his life a little bit trouble, but Shanks is still there. He's got the mid T3.
They don't care. You're outnumbered. JD, what can he do? 10-minute mark. The map is free and open for the side of Twisted Minds, and they're making a very conscious decision. We know we have the advantage. We want to make it even tougher. Let's get the T3 first.
Slow sieging. Twisted Minds understanding the state of the game. This is just 10 minutes up against Alpha Gaming, right? The third place team in MKL, and Twisted Minds are like, I don't care who you are, where you're from, we're gonna stick it to you.
Yes, it does not matter who you are called. You will remember our name. And Twisted Minds, they have to get this. They go in for the suppression.
Control. They have the lock-in. They find CT Boy, and they do get the pick-off, but Saber is so low, he gets story signaled in the face. And now Daohan, he's going to try to go in. He gets picked off as well. Two members down from APG. Twisted Minds want more. They find PHY, who has to flash away, but Yulong gets picked off. Clean gets him down.
Top 8 in sights for the side of Twisted Minds, and it's looking very possible right now. JD and PHY, a two-man defense against a four-member strong Twisted Minds.
Minions crashing in. Bottom T3 is still standing, but Twisted Minds are like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, 8 more seconds for Dow to come back in. Clean gets the pickup, finds PHY, the insta-kill, and it looks like that's going to be it. And Twisted Minds will be in the top 8.
Yeah, can you see Hailang? Come on, bring it, boys. We are in the top 8, and Twisted Minds fully deserve that win of a series.
What a great game by Twisted Minds, really stepping up when they needed to, just finding like how to just stop Alpha Gaming. There were some moments, but that game 3 was almost all Twisted Minds. They had so much momentum. They had so much control. They understood how to play the laning phase. But Twisted Minds, this team is for real.
Yeah, for real. I mean, they had the dream, right? They had some flashes of brilliance in KMW, the major